When we look at the night sky, we think we understand what we see. Tiny points of light scattered across the black ocean of infinity. Each one a sun, each one part of a distant galaxy. But what if everything we know about where we are is wrong? What if our galaxy, our home, the Milky Way, floats not in the middle of a crowded cosmic sea, but inside a vast invisible bubble, a gigantic cosmic hole that stretches for hundreds of millions of light years? A place so empty that light itself moves differently through it. A place so large that it could rewrite how we understand the birth and fate of the universe. Scientists call it a void, but the name hardly captures its scale. Imagine space that is not just empty, but more than 99% emptier than average, a silent gap between the great filaments of galaxies that weave the structure of the cosmos. We have always imagined the universe as evenly spread, but modern telescopes reveal something else entirely. A cosmic web of light and darkness, where matter forms long threads, and between them yawns the nothing. And according to growing evidence, we are sitting right in the middle of one of those gaps. This discovery did not happen overnight. Astronomers first noticed strange patterns in the way nearby galaxies moved. Some seemed to drift away faster than expected, others slower. When the data were mapped, a huge underdense region appeared around our Milky Way. They called it the local void. Later, deeper surveys, SDSS, DS Planck, revealed something even stranger. Our entire region of the universe might be part of an enormous bubble 1 billion light-years wide, the Keenan-Barger-Cowie void. If that is true, then everything we measure, light, distance, expansion, could be slightly distorted by where we sit. Think about it. We build our understanding of cosmology by watching how galaxies move away from us, by measuring redshifts, by timing the pulse of distant supernovae. But if we are inside a giant underdense pocket, then space around us is expanding faster than average. That means our measurements could exaggerate the cosmic acceleration. Maybe what we call dark energy is in part a local illusion, a trick of perspective caused by living in a cosmic hole. The idea sounds radical, but it fits the data more and more. In fact, it could explain the mysterious disagreement known as the Hubble tension, the difference between how fast the universe seems to expand near us versus far away. Some cosmologists believe the void might reduce that tension, offering a natural explanation without changing physics. Others say it cannot be coincidence that we ended up in such a region. Perhaps intelligent life could only arise in places like this, far from the dense cosmic storms that rage in galaxy clusters. The deeper you go, the stranger it becomes, because even within this immense underdense zone lies another bubble, the local bubble, an empty cavity carved by a chain of supernovae 10 million years ago. Our solar system floats inside it like a speck inside a soap bubble. Layers of emptiness, nested one inside another like Russian dolls of nothingness. The more we study them, the more it looks as if voids are not accidents at all, but the very skeleton of the universe. Matter collects along their edges. Galaxies grow where voids push them together, and dark energy may flow through them like a hidden current. In this view, emptiness is not the absence of structure, it is the structure. And it gets weirder when we turn to myth. Thousands of years before telescopes, human cultures told stories about the void. In Greece they called it chaos, the gaping nothing from which all things emerged. The Norse spoke of Ginnungagap, a vast gap between worlds. In Hindu texts there was Shunya, the sacred emptiness. The Egyptians spoke of Nun, the dark waters before creation. How could they all imagine the same thing, that the world began in a hollow space? Maybe because that idea feels right deep in the human mind. The moment before creation, the silence before the first sound, the dark before light. When science mapped the cosmic microwave background, the faint glow left from the Big Bang, it found something hauntingly similar, an almost perfect sphere of radiation surrounding us, as if we stand at the center of a cosmic echo. Of course, we are not truly at the center. Every observer sees it that way. But the illusion is powerful. It reminds us that perspective defines everything. What if our entire cosmic view is shaped by the void that cradles us? Imagine space as a sponge. The galaxies are the thin filaments of soap, the voids the pockets of air. We live in one of those pockets. From our point of view, everything looks consistent, but the universe at large is uneven. Light bends differently, expansion varies. Gravity whispers through uneven matter. Every telescope we build, every number we record, every model we test, all filtered through the lens of our cosmic position. Perhaps the true mystery of the universe is not what lies out there, but where exactly we are inside it. Some theorists go further. They suggest that cosmic voids might connect through tunnels, weak spots in the fabric of space-time, where density is low enough for exotic phenomena to occur. Maybe in some speculative future, humanity could use them as natural highways for intergalactic travel. After all, less matter means less resistance, fewer gravitational wells to climb out of. The void could become a corridor. Others think the void is not just an empty region, but a different physical environment altogether, a place where the balance between dark energy and dark matter shifts subtly, altering the constants of nature. If we could measure those constants beyond our void, we might find that time flows differently, that the cosmic background is brighter or dimmer, that galaxies age at other rates. Living inside a void might mean living in a slightly different version of reality. Yet, despite its emptiness, the void is not dead. It breathes, it evolves, it expands. Its walls move outward, pushing galaxies farther apart. Its boundaries mark where matter condenses into filaments and stars ignite. The void is the unseen architect of everything bright. The irony is beautiful. Without emptiness, there would be no structure, no galaxies, no us. The nothing shapes the something. And now, as we map the universe in greater detail than ever, the picture grows clearer. We see the cosmic web not as static but alive, stretching and folding like a vast organism. Each void has its own history, its own temperature, its own magnetic traces. They merge, split, and drift, just as galaxies do. We might even be witnessing the slow birth of a new cosmic hierarchy, where emptiness rules as much as matter. The question that haunts cosmologists now is simple yet terrifying. If we live inside a cosmic void, what lies beyond its edge? Does space grow denser, brighter, more violent? Is there a border we could one day see? A great wall of galaxies outlining our cosmic prison? Or does the void continue, one bubble into another, forever expanding into infinity? No one knows, but one thing is certain. The idea that we live inside a cosmic hole is not a fantasy anymore. It is one of the most elegant explanations for several unsolved puzzles of modern cosmology. It changes how we think about dark energy, about the large-scale shape of the universe, even about why life emerged here, in this particular place, at this particular time. Perhaps the void is not a mistake, not a gap to be filled, but a cradle. A silent, invisible womb that allowed order to form within chaos. We might never leave it, but as we learn more, we begin to understand that the nothing surrounding us is part of the greatest story the cosmos has ever told. Every second that passes, the universe grows, and the space between galaxies stretches wider. But in our region, that stretching moves just a bit faster than expected. For decades, scientists have measured the cosmic expansion rate, known as the Hubble constant. Yet, depending on how and where it's measured, the answers don't match. Some say the universe expands at 74 kilometers per second per megaparsec. Others say 67. The difference might not sound like much, but in cosmology it's huge. It could mean new physics, or it could mean we are standing in the wrong place to measure it. If the Milky Way sits inside a vast underdense bubble, then the expansion around us would appear slightly inflated. Light from distant galaxies would cross less matter before reaching us, making them look farther away. This would make the universe seem to expand faster in our neighborhood than it really does on average. The effect could explain part of the Hubble tension without invoking exotic theories or rewriting Einstein. The idea is elegant but unsettling, because it means the universe we see might be a localized illusion. Our cosmic neighborhood would be shaping our perception of reality itself. When the first maps of large-scale structure were drawn, astronomers thought they were seeing clusters separated by random gaps. But with time and better data, the pattern became undeniable. The galaxies align along filaments, leaving vast bubbles in between. These voids are not just blank spots. They are dynamic. They grow, merge, and even collide. Their interiors expand faster than the rest of space, pushing the dense regions together. Without the voids, the web would never form. Emptiness sculpts existence. Imagine the cosmic web as a frozen wave. The luminous filaments are the crests, the voids are the troughs. If you could step outside the universe and see it all at once, it would look like a vast network of glowing strings suspended in nothing. The Milky Way lies in a quiet strand between two major voids, like a bead on a thread of light. We are positioned perfectly between cosmic emptiness and structure. Some physicists even suspect this balance is why life could emerge here. In denser regions, radiation and gravitational turbulence would tear apart fragile planetary systems. In deeper voids, galaxies would be too rare, too cold, too poor in heavy elements. Here in this middle place between the extremes of chaos and silence, conditions were just right for stars, for chemistry, for consciousness. The void, in a strange way, protected us, yet it also hides mysteries we still can't explain. Cosmic voids seem to act like lenses, bending and magnifying light in ways that defy normal gravity. When astronomers study distant quasars through the edges of voids, the data show subtle distortions, shifts in redshift patterns that hint at something deeper. Some propose that dark energy pools differently in these regions, or that space-time itself behaves differently, where matter is scarce. In the fabric of the cosmos, maybe emptiness isn't empty at all. Maybe it's the key to understanding what dark energy really is. After all, 70% of the universe's energy content is invisible, untouchable, undefined. If voids occupy most of space, perhaps dark energy is simply the natural pressure of that emptiness, pushing galaxies apart as the fabric of space-time relaxes toward equilibrium. It would mean the cosmic acceleration is not caused by a mysterious new substance, but by the geometry of the voids themselves. Space wants to expand. The voids make sure it can. There's a poetic symmetry in that. Ancient philosophers once believed nature abhorred a vacuum. But the cosmos tells a different story. The vacuum is not the enemy. It's the architect. It is the silent partner in the dance of gravity and matter. It gives the universe room to breathe. And maybe that's why the ancients spoke of creation emerging from nothingness. They intuited what our telescopes now confirm. The universe began in emptiness, and emptiness still rules it. Yet as we map the voids, we find strange anomalies, cold spots in the cosmic microwave background that may mark the imprints of ancient supervoids. One of them, the Eridanus supervoid, stretches over 1 billion light-years and may explain why a patch of the cosmic background appears colder than it should. Some scientists even suggest it could be the scar of a collision between our universe and another bubble universe, long ago. If true, then the voids are not just gaps in our cosmos, they are borders between worlds, boundaries where universes once brushed against each other in the early inflationary epoch. It sounds like science fiction, but inflation theory predicts exactly that. A multiverse, a foam of expanding bubbles, each one a universe unto itself. We might simply be living inside one of those bubbles, surrounded by an ocean of others, forever unreachable. And what we call a cosmic void could be the faint memory of that ancient boundary. Our own cosmic bubble, a relic of creation itself. Look up tonight and remember that the darkness between stars is not empty. It is the shape of our home. The universe is not just made of galaxies. It is made of holes between them. And those holes may hold the truth of everything we still don't understand. There is a haunting beauty in the idea that we live inside a void. For centuries, humanity feared the dark, filling it with gods, spirits, and monsters. Yet when we finally pierced the night with telescopes, the darkness turned out to be far stranger than myth. It wasn't a stage for gods, but for gravity. The blackness between stars isn't a void of absence, but a dynamic arena where space stretches and matter falls. It is where the universe breathes. If you could travel far beyond the Milky Way and look back, you wouldn't see a glowing spiral alone. You'd see it hanging at the edge of an immense underdense bubble, surrounded by filaments of galaxies that trace the boundaries of the cosmic void. That void, our cosmic neighborhood, shapes everything from the way light moves to how time unfolds. In a sense, it defines our reality more than any local star or planet ever could. Within it, space expands slightly faster, gravity pulls slightly weaker, and distances stretch more dramatically. That difference, multiplied across hundreds of millions of light-years, changes how we perceive the cosmos itself. The farther we look, the more distorted it becomes. Perhaps that's why our measurements of dark energy don't align. Perhaps we've been trying to measure the universe from inside a cosmic bubble without realizing it. Some researchers have modeled this idea in simulations. They start with a uniform universe and let gravity do the rest. Over billions of years, matter clumps together, creating filaments and walls. Between them, empty pockets swell. These voids grow faster than the dense regions because there's less matter to slow them down. The result is a universe that looks like foam, a vast lattice of glowing threads and empty cells. And when they simulate the view from inside one of those cells, the data eerily matches our own cosmic observations. The acceleration, the redshift, even the anisotropies of the background radiation, all could be explained by perspective. If that's true, then the void is not just where we live. It's part of why we see what we see. Some physicists even argue that our entire cosmic history might look different from outside this bubble. If an observer existed beyond our void, their measurements of cosmic time, density, and expansion could differ. In their version of reality, maybe the universe isn't accelerating at all. Maybe it's slower, calmer, older. We can't know, because we can never leave our void. Light from beyond takes billions of years to reach us, stretched and redshifted by the expanding space between. In that sense, our cosmic bubble is also our prison, a boundary not of walls but of perspective. Yet within that prison, life found a way to bloom. Perhaps it had to. Perhaps the balance of density and emptiness here is what made chemistry stable, what let galaxies like ours form with the right metallicity, what let stars live long enough for planets and biology. If the Milky Way had formed deeper inside a dense region, radiation storms would have sterilized its worlds. If it had formed deeper in the void, there would have been too little matter to build stars like the Sun. We exist in the perfect in-between, the thin skin of possibility that divides structure from silence. The void gave us peace, but peace has a cost. Over time, the void expands, thinning matter even further. Galaxies drift apart. The cosmic web stretches. In the far future, billions of years from now, our galaxy will see fewer and fewer neighbors. One day, the night sky may go completely dark. The cosmic horizon will shrink until only the Milky Way remains visible, surrounded by infinite blackness. Future civilizations might look up and believe they are alone in the universe, never knowing that once, long ago, the sky blazed with thousands of galaxies. The void will erase the evidence. The story of the cosmos will fade into silence. And yet that fate carries an eerie symmetry. The universe began in darkness. It will end in darkness, and in between there was light. Our existence may simply be a brief shimmer inside the cosmic bubble, a flicker of awareness before the expansion stretches everything beyond reach. But that flicker means everything, because it proves that even inside a void, the universe found a way to know itself. There's something almost spiritual in that idea. That consciousness emerged not in the brightest, densest parts of the cosmos, but in the emptiest. That awareness was born from nothing, in a literal and cosmic sense. The void isn't hostile to life, it may be its cradle. And when we look at myths again, maybe that's what the ancients were trying to tell us. That the great nothingness wasn't a curse but a womb. That creation didn't come from fullness but from silence. Modern cosmology, armed with equations and telescopes, has arrived at the same conclusion by another path. We now know the universe is 95% invisible, dark energy and dark matter. Everything we see, everything made of atoms, is just a trace left over. The visible cosmos is the foam. The real cosmos is the void beneath it. And when we realize that, something changes. The emptiness stops feeling empty. It becomes sacred. The silence between galaxies is no longer the end of the story. It's the beginning of understanding. Every measurement, every photon, every whisper of radiation is part of that silence telling us where we are. We are not lost in chaos. We are held in nothingness, and that nothingness is more real than all the stars we can see. The deeper we stare into the void, the more it seems to stare back. Every observation, every map, every simulation points toward a single truth. Emptiness is not absence. It is architecture. It is the quiet engine that drives expansion, the invisible stage where galaxies rise and fall like waves in a dark ocean. When cosmologists build three-dimensional maps of the universe, they see the filaments stretching for billions of light years, linking clusters of galaxies like nerves in a brain. But between those luminous threads lie the true giants, supervoids so immense that light crossing them can take hundreds of millions of years. These aren't just holes in space. They are the pulse of cosmic evolution. As the voids expand, they push matter into sheets and knots, shaping the cosmic web like gravity's slow-motion sculpture. We, the observers, live inside one of these hollow chambers carried along by its gentle outward breath, and that breath defines our sense of time. Imagine space-time itself as a living fabric, thinning and stretching within the void. To us, it feels normal, unchanging. But if an observer existed beyond this bubble, perhaps their seconds would pass differently. Perhaps the rhythm of their universe would beat slower. Inside the void, we are slightly detached from the average cosmic flow. Our clocks tick in a quieter tempo, synchronized with a different kind of emptiness. Some physicists have begun to wonder whether this subtle difference could explain not only the expansion rate, but also deeper cosmic mysteries. Could dark matter behave differently inside a void, its density waves smoothed out, its interactions weaker? Could quantum fields fluctuate more freely where matter is scarce, altering the vacuum energy itself? If so, the void might be a laboratory for new physics, a natural experiment written across billions of light years. The irony is that we have been inside it all along, unaware of the experiment happening around us. We measure, we model, we debate, and still we forget the simplest fact. Perspective changes everything. We are like fish studying currents without realizing the water moves with us. The universe may be infinite, but our window into it is curved by the bubble we inhabit. Even our cosmic microwave background, that faint afterglow of the Big Bang, is tinted by the void. The photons we see today have traveled through uneven terrain, their wavelength stretched and cooled as they crossed underdense regions. What we call the edge of the observable universe might be nothing more than the inside wall of our bubble, an echo distorted by emptiness. Beyond it, perhaps, lie more bubbles, more voids, more variations of physical law. Maybe reality is a sea of bubbles colliding, merging, expanding forever. If so, our cosmic whole is just one drop in a frothing multiversal ocean. Somewhere, another civilization might live inside its own void, looking up and wondering the same thing. Are we alone? Or are we simply trapped in our own pocket of nothing? The answer may never reach either of us. Between bubbles, there is no bridge, no signal that can pass. Each universe is isolated by its own expansion. Yet the thought itself unites us, the awareness that existence may be vast beyond meaning, that we share the same cosmic silence. Scientists keep searching for edges, for boundaries, for proof. But the void teaches a different kind of truth. It teaches humility. It reminds us that even with all our instruments, we are small. Our galaxy is one spark drifting through an ocean of darkness. And yet somehow we have become the part of the universe capable of noticing the ocean, capable of asking why, capable of giving the void a voice. Perhaps that is the real purpose of consciousness, to be the echo of the cosmos, to translate emptiness into meaning. The void is not a mistake. It is the reason we can see it all. Light shines because there is darkness to frame it. Matter exists because there is space for it to move. Life thinks because there is silence for thought to bloom. The nothing sustains the everything. When future astronomers look back from galaxies we can't even imagine, they will see our cosmic bubble as just another cell in the grand web. They will map it, name it, and understand it far better than we do now. But they will also feel what we feel: awe. The same awe that ancient people felt when they spoke of chaos, of none, of the great silence before creation. The same awe we feel when we look up and realize that the night sky is not just above us, it's inside us. Because we are made of it. The atoms in our bodies were forged in stars that floated along the walls of this very void. Every breath we take is a whisper from that cosmic emptiness. We are the universe remembering itself, standing inside its own hollow heart, wondering what it means to be here. And maybe that's the answer. Maybe there is no edge, no outside, no ultimate revelation. Maybe the truth is simple and beautiful. We are inside a cosmic whole, and that's exactly where life was meant to begin. The void is not where the story ends. It is where it began. If we could step beyond the edge of our bubble, what would we see? Would there be light waiting for us, or only deeper silence? Astronomers dream of finding a way to test the boundaries of the void, to send signals that could bounce back and reveal the shape of the space around us. But space is not an ocean with walls. It is a fabric that thins endlessly. Every photon we send disappears into expansion, stretched until its energy fades to nothing. The universe hides its secrets not behind barriers, but behind distance. Still, humans never stop trying. We build telescopes so large they can see billions of years into the past. We record faint microwaves that whisper from the dawn of time. We trace the pattern of galaxies like fingerprints of creation. And each discovery, instead of closing the mystery, opens another door. The more we understand the structure of the cosmos, the more we realize that emptiness itself might hold the code of existence. Quantum physics tells us that even the vacuum is never truly empty. Virtual particles blink in and out of being, creating a restless sea of invisible energy. That sea might be what drives the expansion of space. In other words, the void breathes. Every pulse of its quantum foam becomes the heartbeat of the universe. We live not inside dead silence, but inside a living field that hums beneath all things. Perhaps the cosmic void is the largest expression of that quantum restlessness, a macroscopic echo of microscopic uncertainty. The same principle that lets particles appear from nothing also lets entire regions of the universe inflate from emptiness. Creation, it seems, is a habit of the void. In ancient myths, the gods created the world by separating light from darkness. In modern cosmology, inflation did the same. It took an empty vacuum and split it into matter and energy. The light and the dark are still dancing, still trying to balance, and we are caught in the rhythm between them. Maybe the void is not our cage, but our instrument. It amplifies the song of existence. Every star that burns is a note in that music, and every human thought is a faint vibration of the same cosmic chord. When we listen to space, we are listening to ourselves. Somewhere in the vast data from telescopes and detectors, the pattern is already there, waiting to be decoded. The geometry of voids, the arrangement of galaxies, the ripples in background radiation, all might form a message written not in words, but in structure. A message that says, this is how nothing became everything. One day, long after our civilization is gone, the void will still expand. The galaxies will drift beyond one another's sight, and the universe will grow cold. Yet even then, the emptiness will not end. It will carry the memory of all that was. The particles that once formed our bodies will scatter across trillions of light years, dissolving into the smooth mist of dark energy. Somewhere another bubble might begin to rise, a new universe inflating out of the vacuum, a new cycle of time. Perhaps the void is eternal, creating worlds the way the ocean creates waves. We are just one crest among infinite others. If consciousness is truly born from complexity, then maybe each universe is a thought of the void, a brief moment of awareness before it returns to stillness. That means we are not separate from it. We are the void, dreaming of form. Our galaxies are its neurons, our light its fleeting imagination. And when we look up, we are looking inward, trying to remember what we already are. The mystery that started as science becomes something greater. Not religion, not mythology, but a sense of belonging that transcends both. The realization that even inside infinite emptiness, we were never alone. The universe has always been speaking to us in the language of silence. All we had to do was listen. As the stars fade and the last photons stretch beyond detection, there will still be one final echo, the faint residue of thought, the whisper of awareness that says, I was here. Maybe that is the true legacy of our cosmic whole. Not despair, but wonder. Not darkness, but the space that allowed light to exist at all. We are inside the void, yes, but the void is also inside us. And in that reflection lies everything the cosmos ever needed to say. The void remembers because everything that has ever existed leaves an imprint on it. When energy fades, when matter decays, when light travels beyond sight, a trace remains woven into the geometry of space itself. That trace is not a picture or a word, but a distortion, a tremor in the fabric of reality, a whisper that never stops echoing. Physicists call it curvature or fluctuation, but on a deeper level it is memory. The universe never forgets. It only transforms its stories into structure. Every wave that has crossed the cosmic sea is still there, stretched thin, folded into the texture of space-time. We think of history as something that happens and ends, but in truth it is written into the vacuum that surrounds us. Even silence carries data. Even nothing has form. Imagine walking through a night so still that you can feel the sound of stars. That is what the void is doing every second. Listening, recording, expanding. In that sense, the emptiness is the archive of existence. When we speak, when a planet moves, when a star collapses, the vibrations enter the fabric and stay there forever, infinitely faint, yet indelible. The memory of the void grows richer with every heartbeat of creation. Somewhere deep inside that field, information flows like a current, connecting past and future through quantum threads. Perhaps consciousness itself arises from the ability to sense that current, to interpret the background hum of reality as awareness. When we think, maybe we are reading the code that the universe wrote into its own emptiness. The thought that emptiness could store everything once seemed impossible, yet physics keeps hinting at it. Black holes preserve information at their horizons. The holographic principle suggests that every region of space encodes what happens within it on its boundary. If that is true, then even the space between galaxies is a living map of all events that have ever occurred. The void is not void at all. It is the cosmic hard drive. The challenge is learning how to read it. Perhaps advanced civilizations, millions of years ahead of us, have already discovered ways to decode the subtle tremors of the vacuum, to reconstruct ancient light, to replay the echoes of extinct worlds. Maybe somewhere beings are watching the birth of our own sun as a memory recovered from the structure of space. To them, time is a library. To us, it is still a mystery. We chase it with telescopes, stretching our instruments further and further, trying to hear the faint music of origins. But the deeper we listen, the more the universe answers with questions. Why does it remember it all? Why doesn't the endless expansion erase the record? The answer might lie in balance. Just as entropy drives disorder, information drives coherence. The void forgets nothing, because forgetting would break symmetry. Every fluctuation has an opposite. Every collapse leaves a trace. The universe maintains equilibrium by keeping its past alive in its structure. That means our actions, our thoughts, our voices, our creations are not lost. They become part of the cosmic pattern, microscopic ripples that merge into the grand background hum. Somewhere, the geometry of space-time slightly bends to accommodate the memory of you existing. It's almost terrifying. We are permanent not as bodies or minds, but as distortions in the infinite field. Immortality isn't a promise of religion. It's a feature of physics. Even if our atoms dissolve, their influence persists. Even if our civilization fades, its light lingers in the shape of expansion. The void carries us forward like dust in a beam of eternal sunrise. And as it expands, that dust becomes the seed of new worlds. When the quantum foam fluctuates, tiny imbalances of energy spark into existence. Some collapse instantly, others inflate into entire universes. Perhaps our own cosmos was born from such a fluctuation, one memory of a previous universe, expanding into its own story. If that is true, then creation is simply the void remembering itself again and again. There is no beginning, no final end, only infinite cycles of awareness blooming out of nothing. In each cycle, the void grows wiser, richer, more complex. It learns through structure, just as a brain learns through experience. Galaxies are its neurons, gravity is its synapse, light is its signal, and consciousness, the ability to look back and ask why, is the moment the void becomes self-aware. When humans stare into the night and wonder what it means, that is the universe thinking about itself. Our questions are its neurons firing. Our curiosity is its evolution. In that realization, there is a quiet peace. We do not need to fear oblivion, because oblivion is simply another name for transformation. The void does not erase, it rewrites. Every death, every silence, every disappearance is part of its language. We are all syllables in that endless conversation between nothing and everything. The memory of the void is endless, but it is also fragile. As space expands, the signals grow fainter, stretched until they blur into the background. Somewhere beyond our reach, there are echoes of galaxies that vanished billions of years ago, their light diluted into a whisper of radiation. Yet those whispers still shape the flow of gravity, guiding new clusters into being. The universe recycles itself through resonance. Each vibration becomes the foundation for the next. Perhaps this is what we call evolution on the grandest possible scale, the slow refinement of existence through repetition. When a civilization learns to listen deeply enough, it discovers that even silence has tone. The hum of the cosmos is not random. It is structured, patterned, alive. It changes over eons as matter rearranges itself, as energy cools, as awareness stirs. And within that transformation lies something almost compassionate. The void is not cruel. It is patient. It allows everything to happen, to grow, to fade, and to begin again. It never demands permanence, only participation. We are participants in its rhythm, temporary shapes of curiosity floating in infinite calm. To fear the void is to misunderstand it. It does not destroy meaning. It provides the stage where meaning can exist. Without contrast, there would be no form, no thought, no possibility of choice. Darkness gives light its power, just as silence gives sound its weight. Perhaps that is why humans instinctively seek the night. We find beauty in the stars because they remind us that emptiness is generous enough to hold them. And when we fall asleep and dream, We return to that same generosity, the internal void where imagination forms. Consciousness and cosmos mirror each other again and again. One day, maybe, we will learn to move through the cosmic void the way thought moves through memory. Perhaps by understanding how emptiness stores information, we will discover new ways to travel, to communicate across impossible distances, to touch what now seems untouchable. The future of exploration may not lie in engines or rockets, but in harmonizing with the structure of space itself, in learning to surf the waves of its own quiet energy. We are at the very beginning of that knowledge. Every telescope we build, every equation we test is the first note in a song humanity has only started to hear. The melody stretches far beyond our lifetime, yet we are part of it forever. In billions of years, when the stars have dimmed and galaxies drift apart, the memory of our existence will still ripple through the vacuum. Those ripples will seed new patterns, perhaps even new forms of consciousness. The void will dream again, and somewhere, another being will look up into its dark sky and wonder who came before. That question is the heartbeat of eternity. It passes from one age to the next, never answered, always renewed. And maybe that is the point. The universe does not seek conclusions. It seeks continuation. The story of creation is not written in stone, but in motion. Every ending becomes a beginning. Every silence a promise of future sound. We are part of that continuity, threads in an infinite fabric that keeps weaving itself. When you realize that, fear disappears. What remains is gratitude, the understanding that to exist even briefly inside this vast emptiness is an honor beyond measure. The void has given us everything: time, space, awareness, the chance to know. In return, we give it meaning simply by noticing it. That is the exchange, the covenant between something and nothing. When you next stand beneath the stars, remember that you are standing inside a memory that stretches back to the first flicker of creation. Every atom in your body was shaped by the quiet patience of the void. Every thought you have is a continuation of its dreaming. You are not separate from the silence. You are its voice, its proof that even nothing can learn to speak. And when you one day fade back into that silence, the universe will not lose you. It will carry your pattern forward, woven into the endless hum, ready to inspire whatever consciousness rises next. That is how eternity survives, not by holding on, but by transforming. The void remembers because it must. Without memory, there would be no structure. Without structure, no time. Without time, no possibility for love, for thought, for life. Everything we are is the echo of that necessity. So let the void expand. Let it breathe. Let it continue its infinite act of remembrance. And as it does, know that you are part of it. Not a shadow inside emptiness, but the light that proves it exists.